keeping track of my grant purchases, I'm doing a couple different things. With this wonderful class that I took, I got QuickBooks software. So I've been able to set up QuickBooks for my business, and I'm able to delineate a separate account for the grant. But also, I'm old school, so I have my folder, and every time I purchase something that comes out of grant money, I stick my receipts in it. And as you can tell, I've got lots of receipts in here, and I have a top cover sheet where I write down what it was for, how much it was, and there you go. And that's what I've done. I also have set aside a portion of it because I am concerned about the tax ramifications. However, I will be spending that on curriculum and other things for the business, for the children in the future, once I do my taxes.
Well, I have a company called ADP, and as far as the payroll expenses, I have them, and I get, it's a software program. I also have a form that I downloaded, and it says, basically month 1, month 2. And I think it came out with, through the early care, whatever, and the courses that we were taking. So basically it was very simple. I just would use the money for payroll. Like when I first got the money, I believe the first payment was August. So August went to pay September, and so on and so on.
Our record keeping is done by filing copies of all receipts from purchases and copies of payroll records for the staff. We received our last payment this month. Due to careful planning and our amazing staff, we will end this year successfully because we had a stabilization grant to rely on.
What many saw as a pandemic, I started to shift my mindset and see it as a plandemic. This was an opportunity to evaluate what worked and what could be done better in order to grow the business and expand our services for our community. The stabilization grant came at the perfect time. This funding allowed us to expand our team by adding an additional 3 team members, which has afforded us the ability to meet more of the childcare needs as parents are returning to work. Stabilization has allowed us to overstaff and prevent being understaffed if anyone should get sick, offer higher wages, and even bonuses. We are also able to invest in a solid onboarding process, providing quality professional development and trainings that not only meet OCFS regulations, but create a culture of high standard service. When our team is well trained and equipped for the job, they're happy, which makes the children happy and makes the parents happy to be a part of our childcare family. We are tracking these expenses by using a payroll company, which we've never had before, as well as a CPA for the bookkeeping piece of it.
It impacted me by making me able to do things a lot easier. Record keeping has never been difficult for me, but this time everything became so hectic I misplaced some of my receipts. I am grateful to OCFS and CDSC for their help. Thank you.
The cost of most things has gone up, so we've used the grant money to pay for payroll while using our other income to take into consideration the increase in cost of goods and services, and trying to keep costs down for our families. Our payroll company tracks the cost of our payroll each week, so we can easily print our reports for accounting and auditing processes. For the playground, we are saving all receipts and recording the money spent in an Excel document to make it easier to track what has been spent.
The way that I'm keeping track of the money is I have a spreadsheet with all of my expenses so far that I've used the money for, with the receipts. And once again, I am super grateful for this money to help offset some of the financial burden that I received during COVID.
I've been tracking my grant expenditure using a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, which tracks monthly the breakdown of how the grant funds are being used. We use the childcare management software ProCare, and so I get all of my figures and numbers, whether it's from expenses or from payroll, from there, and I input that into my Microsoft Excel spreadsheet so I can ensure that I'm keeping accurate records. These grant funds have helped us to stay afloat during these hard times, but they've also helped us to continue to serve our community.
So as expenditures were incurred, I utilized a weekly, monthly ledger to record my expenditures on a weekly basis. Now, a ledger is handwritten. It's like a book that you can just go in and write down everything that you received and whatever went out. Very time consuming. Shortly thereafter, I was introduced to an Excel spreadsheet. And I was introduced to that by LaWanda Clark, who is my business support specialist, and she designed a weekly expense tracker for my program. This tracker spreadsheet made documenting expenditures much easier and less time consuming. If you're not currently using one, I would strongly suggest utilizing a spreadsheet, as it totals everything for you and gives you a weekly, monthly breakdown of all expenditures, and it's free.
We are carefully documenting our spending of the grant funds for future auditing and tax record purposes. All of our receipts for purchases, employee payroll, and bank statements are organized and recorded in a manner that will be easily accessible for future review. The Child Care Stabilization Grant has had a large positive impact on our program. With these funds, we have been able to maintain and improve the health and safety of what we offer here at Mountaintop Family Child Care.
So one of the requirements of the grant was for record keeping, and I was able to develop an Excel spreadsheet that for each of the 10 sites. So for each site, for each month, I was able to break down the payroll, the person's name, how much payroll there was, how much snacks, and in this case, their wish list. This is what this site had requested. I have one of these from August, September, October, November, December, January, with the payroll, the snacks, everything that we purchased, and then all the receipts are behind it. If we had any problems, any questions, Ruth Harvey,
Child Care Council, was right here with us when we first started it. She was a big help. She came right over to help us. And, any questions?
Yeah.
We went to Ruth and she got the answers and got right back to us. She is easily manageable.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The funds have come right into our account. I actually went to the bank and made a separate account for just that. The stabilization money, to keep it separate from our operations. It is a very manageable and organized grant.